We say we get this thing started, Pop.
Let's do it.
How you doing? How you doing? Coming to you live from an undisclosed location in Maryland. This is the Dom and Pop DC Sports Talk Plus podcast. This week, we're going to be covering all things Commanders check-in, of course, doing our top 10 NFL wide receiver rankings. And, I mean, come on. We're going to get to our kickouts of the week. How you feeling, Pop?
Feeling good, son. You know, just drove back from vacay, so we're back here.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, I'm in the mood for a road trip, personally.
You want to get back on the road?
I don't think we spent enough time in the car in the last week between driving down there, driving back, driving to the beach and everywhere we need to be. I don't think we spent enough time in the car.
So you're complaining about vacation?
Not at all. No. Of course not.
The car ride there and the car ride back was pretty brutal.
Car ride was brutal, but hey, we got a legendary Bayside episode recorded, smashing records over here for views. Thank you all for viewing it. And, you know, while I got you here, hit the subscribe button. If you're new, we got a lot of new viewers, a lot of people kind of checking out. Hit the subscribe button. Stay up to date, right, Pop?
I mean, would it hurt to just hit that little thumbs up like?
I mean
very quick.
Yeah, it's so easy. We got this guy here on Instagram. Our Instagram is up and running. We just, you know, the West Coast marketing department, we had to get over to the East Coast, make a little business trip. Had to get on the same page. And now that we're on the same page, we got at DC Sports Plus. This guy's reviewing everything and anything on the reels, really. I mean, is anything off limits, or are you just reviewing?
Oh, there's things off limits.
Yeah,
I mean,
fair enough.
It's a family show.
Got a few bugaboos.
There's a few bugaboos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so without a doubt, Pop, what do you say we jump right into it? Let's talk a little Commanders before we get to kind of like our main topic for this week. Let's get the Commanders. Let's eat our vegetables first. You know?
That's right, of course.
So we got all kinds of craziness going on at training camp. Let's start with the most predictable. Curtis Samuel, he's a little dinged up.
We had a lengthy side field list on day 9 of training camp. Curtis Samuel, John Bates, Shadiq Charles, Troy Apke. Oh, my God, Troy Apke.
How are we going to...
Jawan Neal and De'Ami Brown. So
not great.
De'Ami Brown seems to be joining the Curtis Samuel side field club.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. Side field Samuel, skinny Al Hainsworth, depending on how you want to refer to him. You know, it's not looking so great. Really need to see Curtis out there. Very disappointed in that. Also, I've heard Antonio Gibson's been putting the ball on the floor a little bit, which is something.
Apparently he fumbled.
Yeah, something I'm pretty disappointed about, especially in training camp. I mean, you look at pretty much the number one issue that he had. He led the league in fumbles last year. And the number one issue that we had with him and trusting him as a runner, I mean, you can look back at week 1 last year, San Diego. Fumbles in the fourth quarter totally changed the trajectory of that game. Who knows if we start that season off with a win where things go, right? And several other fumbles and critical moments from Gibson. So bummed about that. But, I mean, somebody predicted this on this podcast. Maybe it's the guy speaking. Brian Robinson showing up.
It appears that way.
He's excelling.
Yeah, he's had a really good camp, and you know the one thing that surprising some folks is his versatility. You know, seems to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield, not just an inside runner, but showing some versatility and being able to get outside as well. So that's great to see. You know, he's probably going to push Antonio a bit, which would be cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty hyped about the Brian Robinson situation. I think he's a beast, and I think we really need. He's almost kind of the opposite of Gibson in a lot of ways. You know, when Gibson converted from wide receiver to running back, we knew he had the agility and the ability to catch the ball and all those kinds of things, but did he have the power running?
Right. Now
we kind of have the opposite with Robinson. He's a sure-handed runner. He's not going to drop the ball. It's looking like he's going to dominate the goal line work, which I think we need, and I think it was almost like, you know, I mean, my boy Peyton Barber.
Oh, no.
We lost him. Uh-oh. Can't lose the tropical vibes. Can't lose the tropical vibes. But, yeah, you know, that's I think something that we saw last season was that without having Barber on the roster, we didn't have an answer for those 1-2 yard kind of punch situations, and Gibson is clearly not that. And I wonder if maybe some of the fumbles that we had maybe a result of that. So maybe Brian Robinson is a good complementary piece, or maybe he's taken over the backfield week 7, week 8 because he's just playing so well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit there. I still think it's Antonio Gibson's job.
Definitely.
And
It's
like him a
Gibson's
lot.
job to lose.
But, I think it's making him focus a bit more. Saw an interview with Gibson where he talked about, needing to do a better job hitting the holes. And, that was one of the knocks on him, that he was missing some of the reads. So, that'll be good. And, suddenly, getting back to some of the injuries, Cole Turner picks up an injury in the last practice. So suddenly, we're thin at tight end, thin at wide receiver in terms of who's healthy right now. So it's some concerns there. Hopefully it sounds like they're, Cole and John Bates are just dinged up, but, we got to see these guys get healthy and get on the field. I was looking forward to seeing them in the, preseason game, but maybe that won't be the case at this point.
Yeah, I mean, hey, football is back.
It is.
Football is back. We were watching the Hall of Fame game on, what was it, Thursday night?
Yep, Thursday night.
Yeah, and it was just incredible. I mean, I silenced everybody in the room. Of course, we turned it on during the third or fourth quarter, so it's a bunch of guys, practice squad guys and guys that probably aren't going to make the team. But I just that theme song, that NBC football theme song came on, and I silenced everybody in the room. I was like, guys, let's take it all in.
That's right.
Let's take it all in because it's back. Football is back. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's like you say, right? The day before you leave for vacation is the best part of vacation.
Right.
Because then the clock starts. And it's here we are. Football is happening. Best part of football season. You're getting ready for your fantasy football drafts. You're getting ready for week 1. And then as soon as it kicks off, just count down to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So, very excited about that. Otherwise, a couple other things to check in on. Apparently, Kendall Fuller balling out in camp. We're looking for a bounce back year potentially from William Jackson. Is the secondary maybe a point of strength on this defense?
It's starting to feel more and more like that's possible. I mean, some of even the national guys have gone to watch the Commanders training camp and have mentioned that Kendall Fuller is the best player on the field.
Yeah.
And, he's kind of forgotten, right? We talk a lot about Jackson and his struggles and some of the other guys and Benjamin St. Juste coming on. But Kendall Fuller, could very well be the best corner we have. And apparently he's having a great camp. And then, you think of Bobby McCain, Cam Curl at the safety position, Jeremy Reeves, Danny Johnson. I mean, you start to name these names, and it looks like, secondary could be a position of strength. They're sneaky good is the words I would use.
I think sneaky good to our expectations, I think, is a more fair. We were kind of expecting the defensive line to be carrying the team, and then the secondary to be well, hopefully we get enough pressure. We don't have to worry too much about our secondary depth. And I still think, personally, I think depth at corner is a huge issue. Because what if Kendall Fuller rolls his ankle? Who's next? Really, who do we go to? So that's an issue I have, but I think the secondary showing some promise is good, but what could be contributing to the secondary showing some promise? Let's address the elephant in the room. Our boy, Commander Carson Wentz. Let's overreact. Things aren't looking so great right now, right?
Reports from practice aren't great. There's always, you never know what to believe. You hear one bad practice day, and then you hear him put together a couple of pretty good ones back to back. But, yeah, there seems to be reports coming out that he's not looking overly sharp. I don't know if it's reason for panic yet.
Yeah.
I think we need to get to the games. It's amazing, he's got to be one of the most polarizing guys in football right now because you just see all kinds of reports. There's another report that I saw come out just today as we were heading back that was kind of confirming that Carson wasn't the problem in Indianapolis. It was an ownership issue. You just don't know what to believe. I think realistically, any quarterback coming in, learning a new offense, right? Even Alex Smith didn't look great right out of the gate, right? I think we just think these veterans are going to plug right in and play great right out of the gate. But it's in a new offense, new system, needing to learn his teammates. I don't think the struggles are to be unexpected, but when it comes on top of the last couple of seasons and the last couple of years of Carson, I don't know. Where are you at in the panic meter?
Oh man, bringing back the panic meter. Good memories. Out of 10, probably like a 4.5, I'd say. I'm going to have to see the first preseason game. I don't know how much. Do we know yet how much he's suiting up for that?
We don't know. I don't know. That's another interesting point in terms of, first preseason game coming up here on the 13th. We got the Carolina Panthers. Ron Rivera is going to be all fired up. Maybe he'll play the starters 3 quarters, for his rivals there. But
God forbid.
But no, I mean, I don't know how much of these guys we're going to see. I'm just operating under the assumption that we won't see the starters in that first game.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
I'm hoping we see the starters at some point. I want to see Carson Wentz play at some point before the first game of the season.
I think we will.
So I'm hoping we see him. Until then, I'm going to keep my panic kind of under wraps just because, guys approach practice differently. And every guy approaches how he goes about practice in a different way. Some guys approach practice like going at it like a game. It's like 100%, I'm going to just try to be absolutely as good as I can today. And other guys say, okay, I'm going to work on this part of my game, focus on this thing. And if I throw 8 interceptions, I don't really care because I'm focusing on this one aspect of the game. So who knows? We don't know Wentz well enough here in D.C. yet to really know, like, last year he was horrible in training camp and he only threw 7 picks. Like, we don't really know. So I'm going to keep the panic at like a 4.5. Of course, you'd rather hear that he's out there just dicing dudes up. But,
absolutely.
It's the interceptions. It's something we kind of expected from Wentz. He's going to be good days and bad days. There's going to be ups and downs, and it seems like we're seeing that play out pretty accurately in training camp.
Yep. Some other interesting things. I mean, they talked about seeing a bit of the 5-man defensive front with Sweat, Payne, Mathis, Allen, and Tuhill. So that's interesting, and definitely the tackles. Payne, Mathis, and Allen, by all account, are having a great camp. So
yeah, I'm hearing a lot of good things about Mathis.
Seems as advertised.
Yeah.
So a little bit of concern on defensive end, at least till Chase comes back. I'm not that worried about it. I thought some of the other guys that started last year played pretty well. But, some good things going on. There was a goal line stance, I guess, at camp, this past camp, where it took 8 tries for the offense to score. So I'm not sure if we feel good about defense on that.
Glass half full, half empty kind of situation,
but,
right?
Interesting, and it's just ramping up. It'll be fun to watch the preseason game. We'll pod after the preseason game next week, so we'll give our takes on that. Preseason's always a little tricky. You get excited about the game. You get excited to see football. It tends to be a bit of a snooze fest, but given the fact that we're doing the podcast now, watching some of those backups, it'll be good to give our takes and
definitely
get a little bit of our preseason post-game pod legs underneath us.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. I mean, I don't know what it is about preseason football, but I love football a lot, and it's so great to watch. It's probably my favorite thing to watch, right? But preseason football,
it's tough.
It's more boring to me than
it's tough.
Almost anything. Like, there are other non-football things that I find more entertaining. You think preseason football, because I love football so much, would be like a C+, but I can't get into it.
You're a broadcaster now, son. You got to watch every snap.
We're going to make the best
break
of
it down.
We're going to make the best of it.
Score each position. And then, tonight, we're recording this on Saturday this weekend. There is the practice at FedEx Field, so hopefully we'll see a good turnout there. And, people have been focusing on the crowds or lack thereof of training camp. What does it mean? Is the fan support there? See, son, I'm really trying to focus on holding the mic.
I like it. I like it. It was pretty rough last week.
But that'd be cool. We'll see to watch a bit of that tonight. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, but anyways, let's say, so speaking of preseason, let me paint you a little picture here. Draw a story. So we're sitting there. I just silenced the whole crowd so that we could listen to the NBC theme song for the football coming back. We all listened to it. And then, cut, new screen. Devonta Adams is on the screen.
Yep.
Best receiver in the NFL. One of the best receivers of
No,
the
but
last.
what did you say?
I said.
What did you say about Devonta Adams? See, this is why the Don Pop Show exists. Dialogue like this.
I said, this is the best receiver in the last 20 years of football.
Of your lifetime or something like
Last
that.
20 years is what I said.
How the hell do you reach that conclusion based on that
So
short career
So we're
far?
not going to debate that yet. I retracted my
See,
statement.
people, this is the kind of stuff I've got to deal with.
I retracted my statement
Trust
shortly
Way is
thereafter.
the best.
And I said, I said, by the time he's done, he's going to be the best receiver of the last 20 years. That's what I meant by that. But it was started off by you saying he's a bad man. I one-upped you, as I tend to do sometimes. And that's what came out. And so that
I
sparked
do think he's going to ball in Vegas, though.
that sparked more of a debate. Agreed. That sparked more of a debate. And then as we're debating about the best receivers of the last 20 years, we started talking about, well, who are some of the best receivers in the NFL now? And we go, holy crap, there's a lot of good receivers in the NFL. And then we start kind of making quick lists off the top of our heads. Fast forward the next day, all over Twitter is the I Am Athlete podcast. They're all talking about it. They're asking all the receivers their top 5 lists. So we figure, you know what? You guys are doing top 5. We're going to do top 10 here.
Yep.
Top 10 wide receivers in the NFL.
NFL.
And our associate producer this week, she suggested that we go from 10 to 1 instead of from 1 to 10.
We can do that.
So I say we do that.
I'm not one to argue with the associate producer.
No, can't argue with the associate producer. So I don't know, Pop. You want me to kick it off? You want to kick it off? How do you want to do it?
You kick it off.
All right, I got my note up here.
Because I just can't wait to see where Terry McLaurin is on your list.
So before I get started, this is a good segue. Before I get started, I'm going to start with a few honorable mentions. My first honorable mention is Terry McLaurin.
Oh, my God.
Doesn't make my top 10. And now these guys are not ordered, my honorable mentions, but these are all guys that I think
That's egregious.
they could be in your top 10. They could not be in your top 10. I'm not going to argue with you if you put them in there, but for me, I just can't. If I look at any of the receivers in the top 10, I can't say this guy's a better receiver than this guy. Yet. Either yet or anymore, depending. So, honorable mentions, Terry McLaurin, T. Higgins, Keenan Allen, CeeDee Lamb. All guys, Terry.
Why'd you have to put C.D. Lamb in there?
Terry, T. Higgins, CeeDee Lamb, all young superstar talents. We'll see if they can sustain that, if they can elevate that, they can get into that elite level. Keenan Allen, maybe a little bit past his prime at this point, but still incredibly productive receiver. So I'm going to start off number 10, Deebo Samuel.
Okay.
That's my number 10 wide receiver. Versatility is amazing. Maybe he's not so great on the outside. Who cares? He's good for 110, 120
Heck
yards
of a
game.
weapon.
Gotta have him in your top
Kind of
10.
a combo guy, receiver and runner, but
Gotta have him in your top 10. He just makes too much of an impact.
Yep.
Mike Evans at number 9, touchdown machine, dealt with some injuries, dealt with some consistency issues. So this is, I'm kind of doing it in tiers. And so this is the bottom tier of my top 10 is those two. And I say there's a clear drop-off from the elite talent. They could rise up, but that's where they're at. So then at number 8, and this is tier 1B, I'm calling it. They have tier 1 talent, but a little bit of a question mark, in my opinion. DeAndre Hopkins at number 8.
You didn't tell me we were doing tiers, by the way.
This is how I'm doing it. I like to go above and beyond.
All right. All the show prep, 4 hours in the car.
I like to go above.
Okay. All right.
So D-Hop for me, number 8. This guy is, he could be number 1 on the list next season, right? Incredibly talented, as good as they come. A little bit of injuries, a little bit of inconsistencies. That's the guy. A.J. Brown, next on the list. Just too young, too small of a sample size. But number 7, I don't think anybody argue with you on that one. Jamar Chase, number 6.
Talk about a small sample size.
Beast.
He's younger than A.J. Brown.
We saw enough. We're going to talk about a small sample size. We saw enough last year from Jamar Chase for him to belong on this list. I think next year we might.
So he deserves to be rated 6 or 7 slots ahead of Terry.
Yes. He had the best rookie receiving campaign since Randy Moss. Come on. Jamar Chase for sure.
I raised you better than that, son.
Number 5, this one going to be a little controversial, probably feel a little low for some people, Tyreek Hill. Number 5. Only question mark, I have 2 question marks about Hill. One, definitely had a bit of a drop-off at the beginning of last year when the Chiefs' offense, the kind of go-to defensive scheme was to take away the deep ball, and the Chiefs' offense was struggling. So I'm wondering, is Tyreek just about blowing past guys and just being the fastest dude on the field, which, I mean, he is, but we need to see a little bit more to his game than that for him to get into the absolute elite baller tier, in my opinion. Phone fell asleep.
Have you watched Tyreek Hill play?
He's a hooper. He's a baller. He's the 5th best.
Much more than just a deep ball receiver.
Are you the 5th best at anything in this world?
I know, but I just didn't.
He's the 5th best wide receiver in this world.
Comments.
He's a beast. He is much more than a deep ball guy, but that's the big threat with Tyreek is that he can blow past
slants. He's catching screens. He's doing all kinds of stuff.
He's the 5th best. He's not these guys. So
all right, son.
These next guys.
Keep it rolling.
You gonna let me talk, or you gonna... These next guys are all around consistent elite threats. You're looking for them to be making between 7 and 12 catches a game, 80, 110 yards, touchdown every game.
And
That's
you
what
don't
you're
put
expecting
Tyreek
from these
Hill in
guys.
that category.
No, Tyreek's put up some duds. Tyreek's had a handful of duds.
All right.
And injuries. A little bit of a concern with Tyreek sometimes.
Okay.
Stephon Diggs, number 4. Terp, number 1 in our hearts in this household. We love Stephon Diggs.
Number 2 in my heart.
Beast. Number 2 in your heart. That's fine. Beast. Justin Jefferson, number 3, Minnesota. Probably a high ranking. This is a speculative ranking. I love the kid. I have nothing bad to say about Justin Jefferson as a wide receiver. I think he's probably going to be the best next year. But number 3, Justin Jefferson. Number 2, Cooper Kupp. How can it not be, right? After the season he had last year, after what we saw from Cooper Kupp last year in his first year with half-decent quarterback play, come on. Kid's unbelievable. Number 2. And number 1, Devontae Adams. I mean, come on. There's not much to discuss there. I think it's going to be between him and Justin Jefferson for the best receiver in the league next year. I think it's just going to come down to whose quarterback plays better, frankly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my top 10.
All right.
How you feeling, Pop? What do you think?
I feel good, You took up 9 minutes of the 10-minute segment that we had planned for this, going through your breakdown of each receiver. But I'll run through mine quick.
No, take your time, please. We got time. Go ahead.
I'm messing with you, son. Don't look so serious. What do you got in there? Is that some Go Juice?
This is rehab from Go Juice. It's just water.
It's water.
Go ahead.
Same here. So I didn't put Justin Jefferson in my top 10 only because I don't know much about him. He's like the one player on this list that I just didn't see play very much. So I'm going to just say that's just because of ignorance about him as a player. I just don't know that much about him. Maybe it's just because I'm trying to avoid watching Captain Kirk. I don't know. Maybe it hurts too much.
Fair point.
But I'm just going to – he's in my honorable mentions only because I just don't know much about the kid.
Really going to hurt watching Kirk playing Kevin O'Connell's offense this season.
Well, we shall see. You love you some KOC.
Love me some KOC.
So I'll go
ahead.
through this in pretty rapid fire. Got number 10, A.J. Brown, the Eagle, is my 10th player. I got Jamar Chase at number 9. No, you're not going to like that. I do think
it's egregious.
Great potential. Could definitely move up the list quick. Could definitely end up higher than that. I just need to see more. That's my main reason for putting him 9th. Okay?
You need to see more than the best rookie wide receiver season of all time.
It's one season. It's
Okay.
one season. I need to see more. Mike Evans at 8. I got Debo at 7. I really like Debo Samuel and everything that he brings.
I like it.
At 6, I got Terry McLaurin. I feel like that
Wow.
he's better than any of these other guys on the list that are lower than him.
So
he's proven it. He's done it with, 5 or 6 different quarterbacks, guys that should be back up in the league, consistently putting 1,000-yard seasons. I said this earlier in the year when we were talking about signing Terry. Why isn't he given that kind of respect? Why are any of these other guys better than Terry? I don't get it.
Well, clearly the front office agrees. They paid him up
Right.
there with Debo and with A.J.
Right.
Brown and with all the guys. And I agree too. My argument with the Terry thing is it's just in the same way that you say the Jamar Chase thing is speculative. It's a little speculative. We don't know what
It's
he's
not
capable.
speculative.
We don't know what
he's proven it for
he's
4 seasons.
He's proven it with what he's had. To say that he's going to take such a massive step forward.
It's not a step
with
forward.
better quarterback play.
I believe he's that at that level now.
Okay,
that's what I believe. And
right.
I mean, I think look,
go ahead. You finish
between
your
any
list.
of these guys, you're really splitting hairs, right? You know, at that point, I just think it's. But I'm going to give Terry the respect I think he deserves.
Let's just clear this up here. You think Terry McLaurin is a better wide receiver than Jamar Chase?
Yeah, I think he's proven to be better. Yes.
All right. That's a clip. Go ahead. Continue.
5, Cooper Kupp. As I wrote down here, Copper Cup. So some spelling issues there. DeAndre Hopkins at 4.
Wait. The guy that just won the Triple Crown last year.
Great player.
Breaking all kinds of records. Pretty
Great
much
player.
picked up that entire Rams team and brought them to the Super Bowl.
I don't agree with that. I think they max.
Where the greatest offensive mind in the NFL, Sean McVay. We can probably all agree on that, right?
Right.
Who does he start throwing the ball to when the Rams are looking like they're going to lose that game? All of a sudden, where's the ball going?
Cooper Kupp had a great season. He's a slot receiver, and he's great at what he does. But I don't put him in the same category as DeAndre Hopkins, my number 4, Stephon Diggs, my number 3, Tyreek Hill, my number 2, and Devontae Adams, my number 1. I just don't think that in terms of pure talent, right? In terms of pure talent, I think these other 4 guys, I think he's a guy that's been utilized, maximizes his ability, and, the offensive coordinators did a great job using him, and he's a top 5 wide receiver, but I don't think he deserves to be second.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how you feel.
Yep, that's it. That's my list.
Pretty different list we got here.
Pretty different list.
So Cooper Kupp at number 5, I think is almost. So you think Cooper Kupp is only one slot better than Terry McLaurin?
Yep, that's how I have it. I think
Respect,
I said this.
Respect.
I said this earlier. If you put Terry McLaurin in that offense and asked him to do exactly what Cooper Kupp did, he could do it. And he could have similar success. That's how I feel. I mean, the kid is a great route runner. He's got elite speed. He's got great hands. He can go deep. He can play all 3 wide receiver positions. What else do you want?
I love Terry.
What else do you want?
I love Terry. I just think it's...
You're sitting here on a command... I hope Commanders Nation, he's my son. I love him. Be nice. Be kind. But just please...
You don't have to be nice or kind. Just tweet at us. Here. Please, tweet at us. You don't even have to be nice or kind. I'm a grown man.
This is the guy that could wait for the number 17 white Commanders jersey to come out so he can get one.
I love Terry McLaurin. I love him. I love the Commanders, but you know what I love the most? The truth. And the truth is, Terry is just not. He's a top 10 talent, but I can't look at any of those receivers on the list and say, other than the guys towards the bottom, Mike Evans and Deebo Samuel, I can't look at any of the other receivers on that list and confidently say Terry is better than these guys.
Okay.
As good, maybe. For me, I think you said you're kind of splitting hairs within the top 10. For me, it's I think 6 through 14 you're splitting hairs. But I don't think Terry, so I think Terry's in that group, but I don't think Terry is anywhere near that.
I think
top,
you oversize some of these
group.
Guys.
Like Jamar Chase? Like the best rookie
Jamar
wide
Chase, I
receiver
get
in
the
NFL
Jamar
history.
Chase argument, and I said that. I just need to see more. I'm not going to give a guy a top 5 slot off of one season.
All right, so hey, you know what? We'll come back.
And you know what? He wasn't lights out the entire year. He struggled at times. There were some questions, especially early in the season with him.
There were some questions in the...
He came on strong.
There were questions in the preseason with him.
Didn't start him in the Fantasy League final because of the question marks.
My uncle made the worst mistake in the history of fantasy football.
Yeah.
not starting him. We can't use that as a baseline here. Yeah, I love me some Jamar Chase though. That's no secret. I love him.
All right. Well, anyway, comment, debate. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, please.
I think Terry's in the top 10. I don't think it's debatable. I think by far. I think we need to put some respect on his name. But anyway, it is what it is. I think we need to move on.
All right.
Get into our Che Cazz of the week. And I think the Che Cazz of the week this week is completely obvious. It's Juan Soto getting traded from the Nationals. Now,
Heartbreaking.
we haven't talked a lot of baseball. We're not like huge baseball fans, but the Nationals World Series run was really one of those special father-son moments, right?
Definitely.
So Dominic was home. Trying to remember. I mean, that time of year, what were you home for? That's right. You hadn't moved out to California yet.
That was right before I had moved. So I had graduated in May of 2019, and I was living out my lease until about August. And then in August, I moved back here, was waiting to just secure an apartment in Los Angeles. And I kind of over the course of that wild card run, I had locked down an apartment and then was kind of waiting to just get all my things out there. And it's a big move. It's 3,000 miles. So it was quite the journey. But yeah, I was in the middle of that. And so we're here, kind of not much to do, just biding the time until I get out to California and we throw on the baseball game. And I'm sitting there, I'm you know what? I have absolutely no interest in watching baseball.
Yeah, so I kind of twisted Dominic's arm. I said, it was the wild card game for the championship run that they went on. And I said, just, come on, let's sit down, let's watch the game. I like the Nats. I'll pay attention. I rarely watch a baseball game all the way through in the regular season, but I keep an eye on the scores, especially when they're doing well. And I said, come on, son, let's playoff baseball. And we were both, all of a sudden Dominic got riveted. I was riveted.
Yep.
Went extra innings. And then, there was a play where there was an error. And I just start yelling out, he f***ed up. He f***ed up. I don't know why that came out. Dominic's going to bleep that. Some extra editing. Sorry for the kids at home. But that's what came out of me, right? And we score the run. We win the game. And then we just go on this great run that, Dominic and I were kind of watching together from afar because he had moved out to California. We went to the championship parade. My wife and I went to the championship parade. What a great run. It's just so sad to see that team broken up and sort of the last great piece of that team, Juan Soto left. And, somebody had a great analogy. It's like you hit the lottery and getting a player or a generational player like that. And now you trade them for prospects and you're banking on trying to hit the lottery again.
Yeah, that's insane to me.
One of those prospects or two of those prospects end up being great players. I don't know. There's arguments on both sides. But the thing that really got to me more than anything was when Juan Soto's quote was, I never thought they would trade me. I really thought they were going to build the team around me. I never thought they would let me go. I thought they were going to re-sign me and build a team around me. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, one of my favorite, screw baseball. I mean, there's not a lot of baseball memories for me to pick from anyways, but one of my favorite sports memories ever was watching that with you. And I mean, I remember going to a bar. It must have been my second or third night in LA. I went to a bar in all my Nationals gear down the street. And there's all these dudes, all Astros fans. And that was the night we got clobbered by the Astros. And then we ended up winning that series, I think, in 7 games.
Right.
And went on to win the whole thing, right?
Well, that was, yeah.
And I was just I remember feeling so heartbroken in that moment. And just so many cool memories related to winning that series. And it just, it was so sad because I remember thinking after that, I'm going to keep up with baseball now. This is so cool. And we have this young team and we have this great juxtaposition of some really good young players along with some really great vets.
Yep.
And we can do the thing that you hope every great franchise
be good for
can
a long
do
time,
is we can develop our young players as our vets are on the way out the door, maybe trade some guys. And then you look at, Rendon left, and then it was Turner and Scherzer went in the same deal. Now Soto's gone.
Yeah. And
It's
the
just
Astros series
heartbreaking.
was actually the championship series. That's where
Yep.
we won the whole thing.
Yep. Yeah, it's. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
There. Yeah, it's just heartbreaking. And no, Scherzer and Turner went on the same day,
Yeah.
but different teams.
No, they both went to the Dodgers.
But now Scherzer got traded.
Now
again to
Scherzer's
Mets.
with the Mets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I'd remember them going
Baseball
to the same
Dom.
deal, but then, well, I remember they both go to the Dodgers, and then
Right.
the sirens in my head are going off like you just watched Soto hit a home run off Scherzer, who was playing for the Mets, and I'm like,
Yeah. That's
but
right.
no, I was right.
Yeah.
I don't like
Yeah.
it. But yeah, I mean, just such a shame to that whole situation, and I think that lottery analogy is perfect. It's just like how it's arrogance, in my opinion, and it's like you got the guy, you did it.
Right.
You did it. You got the
It's
guy.
a bit of a gamble, right? I mean, their thought was that with the offer that they made him, that his agent was going to push him to free agency, and then you're stuck, right? Can you do some sort of a trade at the last minute? So it just and then his value just drops over time. Now the team that trades for him, which is the Padres, gets him for 2.5 years minimum. And they just felt like, that gamble. And then, of course, there's ownership change that's happening with the Nationals. But, it hurts.
Yeah, it hurts a lot.
It hurts a lot.
I mean, it's like the equivalent of like Golden State in like 2015 being like, time to liquidate Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Let's let him go. Like, let's get our prospects. Let's get some G Leaguers in here. Like, what? It's nuts to me. I mean, we're not claiming to be baseball experts by any stretch of the imagination. But based off of what we know, seems very silly and it's very sad. But yeah, wish him the best. Che Cazz to the learners and the entire every single person on earth who thought that was a good idea.
Yep. So I think that we're close to wrapping up here for today.
Yeah.
Post vacay pod. Still great to have my son here face to face at home, which is great.
Definitely.
But we're coming up with a new segment, so we're kind of always thinking of new ideas, new ways to push Dom and Pop Show forward. I was having, moment to myself, just kind of thinking over vacay, and Dominic and I were just talking and shouting at one another a little bit, and not shouting. I know that's not the right choice of words, but we were talking about rookie quarterbacks, and somehow we got on to what round was Malik Willis picked in.
Yep.
And me completely talking about, out of my rear end, said second round. And Dominic
Swore
was
by
more
it.
confident. It's the third. $5 bet, Dad. We bet. Of course, Dominic was right. I owe him $5. You know that we've got a bet now that's in process where Dominic believes so much in Russ Wilson, loves him so much, Wilson, believes the Seattle is going to completely fall apart without Russ. They weren't that good with him, and so they're going to be a bottom 5 team in the NFL. I believe Seattle's better than that with Pete Carroll, so we bet that. So we're going to call this new second segment the Bada Bets. Dom
Yes,
and
sir.
Pop, Bada Bets.
Bada bets, and we'll be at you next week hot with some new Bada bets.
We're gonna
right?
come up with some Bada Bets every week.
Yeah, so just kind of like a little bit of a soft launch here, just talking about the concept, and then next week we're gonna bring the heat. But just in case anybody wants to recall some of our best, what are some of your favorite bets that we've had together? I mean, I'll start. I know mine was when you bet me $5 that Kyle Shanahan had traded all the way up there and given all that time away for Mac Jones. And I said, no, Dad, he's taking Trey Lance. And you said, no, he's taking Mac Jones. And I said, you want to bet? And you said, yeah. And that's kind of how this whole thing started, really. That's when the $5 started getting tossed around, and your boy was right.
I mean, my favorite bet, without a doubt, was the brilliance of me picking Golden State to go all the way in the NBA Finals. A documented bet on this podcast that you had to pay out $5 to your father for.
It was
$5 is the most popular bet amount for the Bada Bets.
It was
with the
almost
Dom and Pop Show.
It was almost as brilliant as your bet that not one but two, and not two, more than 2 quarterbacks were going to
Well,
be
it was
gone
2.
before the number 11 pick this year. It doesn't matter whether it was 1, 2.
got
The number
lucky.
was 0.
You got lucky.
I was right. Is
got
what
lucky.
it was. Yeah.
All right. But anyway, I think that about wraps things up for this week.
Yeah, so that's a little recap on some of our favorite Bada Bets. And next week, we'll be hitting you with the Bada Bet segment. I don't know, maybe we'll do it before Che Cazz, after Che Cazz. We'll have a production meeting. We'll talk about it. You guys are going to get some Bada Bets. It's coming to you live. And with that, I've been Dom.
This is Pop.
And thank you guys for another great week.